Point number 2, this is all about purpose and leadership. Has anybody read the book which is called Start With Why by Simon Sinek? Simon Sinek, getting some blank faces, highly recommend it. He talks about why Apple is so successful in the marketplace. And he talks about it's because they have got a very clear purpose of why they exist. And what he talks about is a lot of companies know what they do, a lot of companies know how they do it, but they don't know why they do it. And for me, purpose and strategy and vision is absolutely essential in employee engagement, so that employees know exactly why they're there, how their role fits with a wider, bigger picture, and that's a real clear purpose. And that's closely allied, of course, with leadership. And of course, in Virgin, the purpose is really, really clear. It's about being the consumer champion, and there's only one strategy, and that is all about keeping the customer happy. Now at Virgin, we're particularly fortunate because we have this chap who is the leader, Sir Richard Branson. And for me, think about the leader of your organisation. For me, engagement really is key and starts with what I would call the chief exec. I've just read a book which is actually called The CEO, and rather than being the chief executive officer, it's all about the chief engagement officer. And the thing around the book is that your chief executive is your chief engagement officer. And of course, having an inspiring, motivating leader is absolutely key, who is human, who is visible and is out and about. And of course, having trust and honesty is absolutely key. My famous Richard Branson story, which I'd like to share with you to give you an example of the leadership qualities, was Richard Branson came down to Virgin Mobile to visit. He just wandered in, went round, bizarrely went up to people and said, "Hi, I'm Richard Branson." "Blimey, are you?" And Richard Branson had to get back to London for a meeting in the afternoon. And being Trowbridge, he ordered a taxi to get back to the station. Being Trowbridge, that taxi was going to take 45 minutes to arrive. So he asked the receptionist, he said, "Look, I've got a real quandary. I really need to get to Bath Station. I really need to get to this meeting." So the receptionist sent out an email to everybody in Virgin Mobile and said, "Would anybody like to give Richard Branson a lift to the station?" This is a true story. And as you can imagine, there was a quick rush down the stairs, and Ashley, who worked in marketing, was the fortunate person who got there first. So off went Ashley and Richard in his little Mini, I don't know if you know Bath, down the A46. Now, unfortunately, the first thing that Ashley had to do when he left work that night was to fill up with petrol. In all the excitement, he obviously forgot about that, so he was halfway down the A46, and guess what? He ran out of petrol with Mr. Branson sitting next to him. Now, many of you are probably thinking that is the end of Ashley's career. But no, Richard went in very Richard style. He said, "Look, you're going to be okay, Ashley. I really do need to get to the station, so I'm going to have to go. But are you going to be all right?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm really embarrassed. I'm really sorry." "Yes, please go." So Richard Branson started hitching down the A46. Didn't take him long to get little old granny in a Capri stopped. "Oh, hello." Anyway, the moral of the story is the next day, Ashley got a phone call. And Ashley got a phone call from Richard Branson. And what did Richard Branson say to Ashley? He said, "Did you get home okay?" And for me, that is the power of a leader who's taking that time to think. And that story, let me tell you, has gone around Virgin, the whole of Virgin, not just Virgin Mobile. And it's a story that people recount time and time again. And it gets exaggerated more and more, as you can imagine. But again, the power of the story around the leadership. And again, just giving you that human touch. Other things we used to do at Virgin, and I'm sure you've seen the programme where the boss goes undercover, and at the end they all go, "Oh my God, it was the boss." And they all cry, and they all get promoted. Wonderful TV. We did similar things at Virgin. We used to have retail shops all over Great Britain, and it was obligatory that every senior manager spent 1 day every 6 months working in a shop. And I'm not talking about turning up and saying hello to the staff and leaving at 11:10. You had to turn up at 7 o'clock when the shift turned up. You had to speak to customers, you had to deal with customers, and you went to team meetings, and then you weren't allowed to leave until the store shut. And that was a really positive thing that staff saw. The other thing we used to do in our customer centre, which is what we call the weakest link, which was we got senior managers to take calls, to talk to customers. How bizarre is that? And what we did was we got the staff to vote by text who they thought was the weakest link on the phones. And of course, the ones who were the weakest link stayed on the phone the longest, because they really are, all right, I don't like Rich, I'm going to make sure he takes calls all day. So again, that was a really effective way of getting the leadership team out and about.